I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
Time flies when you're having fun. Buongiorno, and welcome back to another episode of the Domestique Cycling Podcast, where myself, Bram, and Ethan will be reviewing the latest Giro action. First of all, Ethan, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's Giro time, so it can be
Definitely.
better than this. Bram, how are you today after a magnificent performance by our hero, Julian Alaphilippe?
Of course, you have to start off with that. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just for our listeners, there's a little bit of controversy between us. I did not believe in Julian Alaphilippe before this stage, but he proved me wrong, and now I have to eat it.
Well, I think we can jump right in. Today's stage was mayhem, right from the gun. I think it took 90 minutes plus till a break was formed. A big group went away in separate moments. Ethan, you were on the live today. Can you explain us a bit how today's stage, so stage 12 for the listeners, how it went?
Absolutely chaos, to be honest. I'm being genuinely serious here. I don't think there was like 5 minutes of like rest until probably proof when Alaphilippe attacked with Maestro. But the break formation just kept going on, and it kept just getting brought back. But they let 3 riders go up the road at the start. Trentin was involved in that. I can't remember the other one. I don't know if you remember who it was.
I know Trentin was very active at the start, and he was in the eventual breakaway as well. He went right to the finish. But in general, what are your thoughts on this Giro so far? Has it lived up to the expectations you had at the start when we recorded our big preview?
Honestly, I think it's kind of gone above and beyond. I think every stage has been interesting. I haven't had a single one where I was like, yeah, this is really a snooze of a stage. Well, there was one that, nothing happened in the first 100 kilometers, but then it ended up kicking off. But yeah, it's been a really amazing Giro as far, like GC wise. It's not the most exciting race to determine the winner, but behind Pogacar, it's super close. Like, it's going to be amazing.
It's chaos, isn't it?
Yeah,
Chaos. Again.
We had an episode of the opening weekend, but it all started off that first stage with Narvaez. That was unexpected, and from then on, we saw entertaining racing. We saw Pogi show multiple times, but we saw breakaway fights. We saw magnificent sprints. I think we have to talk about it. Tadej Pogacar is in a world of his own at this Giro. Do you believe that he is being pressured not to pursue more stage victories, Ethan?
You can tell he does look a bit pissed off, doesn't he, in his interviews sometimes. I think very recently as well, we had the stage where Paris Poncha won, and I think he definitely wanted to win that stage, in my opinion. I don't know what Bram's thoughts is on that, because I truly believe he did. You could see it in his face.
Yeah, he did definitely want to win that stage, but for the sake of diplomacy, UAE decided not to go for it, and I think that's such a weird choice. Like, as a reason not to go for the sake of diplomacy, like, I don't think Asher Decathlon are ever gonna now repay the favor to UAE because UAE didn't chase them down. Like, what diplomacy is this?
It's diplomacy, and it maybe some energy saving, because we all know he's going for the Giro Tour. We had some doubts in the preview a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Is he going into the pink jersey straight away, go ham in the first week, and then ride defensively? Or is he going to wait till the last week, the last mountain stages, and go into the pink? He did the first option, going into the pink jersey right away. Maybe even one stage later than he expected to. Is it a combination of diplomacy and energy saving?
I think at this point there is also some energy saving going on as well. He's said that the Tour is in the back of his mind. So like a stage like today, stage 12, he could win that as well. If UAE decided to control the crazy break formation, Poggi will win it. But I think they also need to be a little bit more conservative with their team. Maybe not conservative Pogacar, but their team is not going to be able to hold this up for the whole Giro.
Yeah, I saw an article an hour ago. I don't know who said it, but it was all the teammates of UAE. So the whole team of UAE are normal except Pogacar. So there are maybe some weaknesses in the UAE team. There was a hard crash of Grosschartner, a big crash of Grosschartner yesterday in stage 11. What do you think of the UAE team going for the next stages? Are they strong enough to support Pogacar in his defensive style of racing?
Easily, I think. All he really needs is Bjerg, though, really, in the mountains, I think. Because, and Majka, yeah. With those two, I think it's perfectly fine because they set his tempo he needs. And he likes the strong, fast tempo. And do other teams have anyone who can match that? That's the issue.
Yeah, it's a weird Giro actually for me. It's everybody is like waiting. We only saw a bit of action from Bahrain and Tiberi on Prato di Tivo, if I recall correctly, that he started to pace and he did a small attack. Pogacar gave him some kudos for that as well. In the interview the day after, he said Tiberi is the only one who has some balls, who showed some to attack or do something. And again, it was Bahrain who was pacing the peloton. Well, because Jan Hirt was in that front group, I have my doubts, to be honest, because Jan Hirt, come on.
Yeah, I think the Bahrain Victorious team is a little bit too nervous, or maybe it's Tiberi himself who's a little bit too nervous. They're so defensive.
I seen that today as well, really, with Bahrain. They was always on the front from proof. Maybe 50 kilometers, I think, on the front, but there was some splits in the peloton as well, wasn't there, at the end? But yeah, nervousness.
What do you expect for the podium fight? We have BORA-hansgrohe with Dani Martinez. We have INEOS with Geraint Thomas, who had let's say a bad individual time trial a couple of days ago. We have Arendsman sitting 8th or 9th in GC.
10th at the moment.
10th. We have Movistar with Rubio. We have O'Connor, the Pirate Panther brothers, who can support O'Connor. What do you expect of the podium fight? Because without illnesses, we're going to talk about that later, and Pogacar wins this Giro or crashes. But who has the best shot for second and third at this point?
I think the way that the GC currently is, so Martinez and Thomas seem the most likely. But to be honest, I haven't been truly impressed by them, by either of the two yet. Martinez did a good time trial, don't get me wrong. But just like in mountain stages, it's been a little bit calm, just purely because of, Pogacar and I think on the stage 10 with the pace from Bahrain, not really much attacking opportunities. So I would say those two.
I think Geraint Thomas is going to lose his position, I think, to O'Connor. And Martinez, I just think Martinez is going to crumble. I have a feeling.
No. Martinez is going to podium. Martinez is going to podium, mate.
The way Bahrain had been riding, Tiberi is all showing, obviously, what Pogacar said, showing some balls. I like that from Tiberi. Tiberi is like a long shot podium, maybe, as a third place.
Yeah.
Considering how Tiberi lost, I think it was almost 2 minutes in stage 1. Like, for him to be, if he had gained those 2 minutes now, he'd be second place. like he'd be ahead of Martinez. Like that's just crazy. So I think Tiberi is still in with a very good shot at podium.
Yeah, very good shout. And there's just something about Geraint Thomas. I don't know. It's just obviously.
But Thomas looked good in the final dash to the line. He's always able to stay into the sprinting wheels. We didn't really have mountain stages yet this Giro. We had Prato di Tiro, but that was a high mountain stages we didn't really have yet. It was also medium mountain stages, hilly terrain. We go to Livigno on Sunday. Pogacar is talking about that stage for half a week already. He doesn't care about the other stages. He doesn't really care about the time trial. He cares about the Livigno stage. So we all know who's going to win that one, I assume.
Yeah, that's a crazy stage. Like, I mean, was it over 5,000 meters of elevation gain in a day?
Yeah.
And it's also the longest stage in this Giro with over 200 kilometers, like over 220. Like, and that's just a huge day. Like, yeah, that day will decide this Giro. I don't think it will decide the winner, but behind Pogacar, that day is crucial.
The Marmot is nothing in comparison to that stage.
Actually, the Marmot is 5,000 meters of elevation in a shorter distance. So no, Marmot is more.
It also has been a rootless Giro in terms of sicknesses and abandons, with numerous starts with NSs. We have a B10 who was out of fight. Unfortunately, Kia Uiterbroeks had to leave the Giro while being in fifth and wearing the youth jersey. It's a pity because he was good. He was in good form.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have still lost the white jersey to Tiberi.
Definitely.
Due to the time trial and how close they were together. I think they were 17 seconds apart when Kian dropped out. And Tiberi clearly has a very good TT.
Very good.
So maybe in like the
Kian still had to come. The stages with a lot of altitude meters with fatigue in the legs. I compare Uiterbroeks a little bit with Arendsman maybe. A third week Grand Tour rider who's very good in the high mountains, who can cope pretty good with the fatigue. We saw last year in the Vuelta. He was pretty strong in the last week as well. So, yeah, I don't know about Tiberi. To be honest, this is his first Grand Tour from Tiberi as well. So we don't really know how he will perform in that third week. He looks strong right now, but yeah, I want to see him in the high mountains best.
It's the team that Tiberi also has with him as well, which gives him a massive plus, I think, in my opinion as well.
It's Tiberi's third Grand Tour, by the way. He did the Vuelta twice.
In terms of who he has with him, is very impressive.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to if Keane was still there, his team is just not as strong in terms of domestiques as Visma bike.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think we leave the GC battle a bit behind and go to the sprinters battle. That fight has been pretty epic, with no sprinter winning more than one stage until Milan on stage 11. Has Milan exceeded your expectations in just how good he actually is and how good he's able to hold his power in a sprint?
I mean, I'm not surprised by the power. We all knew he had that. There's been some posts about his watts in the past from Velon, I think. But the fact that he's able to beat Merlier twice, I think that's what surprised me. I expected Merlier to be more dominant here, but Milan is just at a super high level. In general, the sprints are super high level.
The only
of course,
issue
we
is,
lost Koe, but
the only issue is though for Merlier has been little bumps in the road near the end of the finish lines, I think, as well. If it wasn't for some of them, probably could have got one more. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think it's mainly like getting in the wind too early, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, I think that it's like a lot of the sprints are very chaotic.
Mhm.
I've not seen a super clean lead out sprint. So yeah, stuff like this happens, and sometimes you get surprised, but Milan's just winning them outright, to be honest.
Like stage 11, where Merlier was relegated because he moved to the barriers when he launched his sprint. Like Merlier was able to keep up with Milan till the last 50 meters, and then you saw Merlier fading away because he wasn't able to hold the power, and Milan was just bobbing his way to the line with the same amount of power, actually.
I mean, it was a headwind, so going from 200 is a long way. So if Van Lerberg could have done the lead out for 50 meters longer, I think Merlier probably would have finished first, but he still would have relegated. So
was it the relegation?
In my opinion, it wasn't.
It's the issue. If that caused a crash here, that would have been.
No, but the thing is, he comes out from behind Van Lerberg. At that moment, he chooses his line, and he chooses because if you surpass someone, you get to choose your line. So he goes on the right. Yes, initially he rides behind Van Lerberg, but as soon as Van Lerberg is done, Merlier chooses his line, and that's on the right side, and that blocks Milano. That's unfortunate, but in my opinion, that's not a deviation. That's starting your sprint and picking your line. So in my opinion, no, not a deviation.
But it's like the commissaires are actually doing something now about relegations compared to last year, where obviously a lot of it went unpunished in the Tour de France as well, specifically.
I mean, I do think it's better to punish a little bit too often than not enough.
Yeah.
But
in my opinion, this was one where it wasn't needed.
Yeah, for me it's difficult as well because there were interviews the day after with Milan. They mentioned Merlier got relegated, and Milan asked straight away why, because he said Merlier did a strong sprint. I don't really know what he did wrong. For me it's difficult as well. It's good that they are a bit more severe, because we saw a lot of crashes. They did a punishment for Groenewegen as well this week, if I recall correctly, or they want to punish Groenewegen for an incident with Welsford in a sprint in, I don't know which race.
Hungary, I think.
Hungary, yeah.
So they are trying to act on the behavior in sprint, but for example, Pitti got a fine yesterday because he did some reckless things in the final of yesterday's stage 11, but he wasn't relegated. He just had to pay a fine. So
who is that? Sorry,
Lawrence Pitti.
Pitti, yeah. I seen another interview when I was doing the live interviews this morning. Two people have said that Pitti is dangerous and there's basically proper danger in the peloton. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I've heard that he basically doesn't break.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm assuming that other riders are not very appreciative of that, and yeah, that's gonna give him a little bit of reputation.
We've seen a couple of thrilling endings. One of them, the finish in Naples. One of my favorite riders in the peloton, Jonathan Narvaez, tried something extraordinary by disrupting a mass sprint, a bunch sprint, and try to go solo to the line. Koi won that sprint eventually. Was it because Pogacar did that incredibly strong turn at the front that they were able to catch Narvaez?
100%, yeah.
100%.
Without Pogacar, they wouldn't have won.
He would have won, yeah.
Was
it's
it
crazy,
payback
isn't it?
for stage 1?
And you look at Pogacar and it's just for fun, isn't it, really, I guess? Just a laugh.
I think it was just trying to help Milano, because Milano, he's a sprinter, but he's been doing quite a lot of work on the flat, to be honest, for Pogacar. So I think that the stage before that, stage 9, they basically forced him to win a stage, because yeah, the team wanted to win, so Pogacar had to. But I think that was more what that ride was about, to catch Narvaez. I don't think it was any beef with Narvaez or whatever because of stage one. I think it's just they wanted to win with Milano, and he got third. So
maybe a little bit of revenge. I
Slightly.
It's Pogacar.
He's
a child on a bike. He's so playful, and
but he's nice.
He's that Ecuadorian national jersey. Not you, mate. You took that pink jersey away from me in the first stage.
No. Pogacar is too nice of a person for that. I don't think he's a vengeful person like that.
He's starting to get a bit of a nice little bite about him now at Pogacar, I think, as well. He's seen in the press conferences after the thingies. He's starting to bite back now as well. So yeah, it's nice to see.
Kooi won that stage in Naples. Many people online had already underestimated his ability to win bunch sprints. We saw a couple of accounts mentioning why are they bringing Kooi with a team in support if he's not able to win bunch sprints. But in my opinion, Kooi is one of the best sprinters in the world, and still has some room to grow as he's still quite young. It's his first Grand Tour. What are you guys' thoughts on the Dutchman?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the great upcoming talents in sprinting. I think the criticism was more aimed at the team that Visma Lease a Bike has brought in support of Kooi. Definitely not an A team, but honestly, there's very good reasons for that. And at this point, there's only 4 of them left, and no Kooi. So honestly, I think that criticism was just way too harsh. Kooi is still super young and it's going to win a lot of Grand Tour stages. This was just the first.
It's not nice to bash a young rider as well, really, because it can affect the confidence severely, as you've seen with numerous riders before.
Olaf out of the race, Laporte out of the race, Uitebrooks out of the race, Geesink out of the race. Only 4 guys left, 3 guys left, 4 guys. How unlucky are Visma Lease a Bike in this Giro, and how unlucky are they in general in the 2024 season?
It's crazy. It's like there must be some form of curse on them or something, you know? Like I've never ever seen that much bad luck in my life, really.
Yeah, one of the other teams has done some voodoo magic to curse them, because like this season has just been a total disaster so far. I mean, they've still got a lot of wins, but basically all their leaders are out or injured. It's crazy.
Yes, it's crazy. Glad to see Jonas Vingegaard is back on his bike after his severe crash in the Basque Country, by the way. I don't know how his form will be for the Tour, but it's just good to see him back on a bike on his home roads. Another abandon, Binyam Girmay. He decided to crash twice in one stage and had to abandon because of that. It's unfortunate because he was in a good form. He was sprinting pretty strong. He was challenging Milan for the Ciclamino, in my opinion, because he was doing everything he could at the intermediate sprints, and Binyam can climb quite a bit if he's in a good shape. I saw he's scheduled this weekend to start racing again. So the 18th of May, 19th of May. So his injuries aren't that severe. Do you think he looked good when he hopped on his bike the first time? Because I saw some things in our Discord server. Bram?
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts?
I thought it was insane that they put him back on his bike as quickly as they did. The guy was standing there and wobbling, and they put him back on the bike. I'm no doctor, but I don't think they did a full concussion check in that time. And honestly, that second crash, that is just, I think, a pure result of that, where he was well, not paying too much attention or days or whatever.
Days, really, yeah.
But yeah, no, he never should have been put back on that bike so quickly. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't understand that move. I was quite angry at the time.
He could have had much more severe consequences, that second crash. He's very lucky to have been able to race this weekend.
All right, we're almost at the end of this short episode, but I want to mention two more things. Bram, do you recall your GC podium in the preview?
I do.
Who was on the podium for you?
That was Luke Plapp and Geraint Thomas.
And how is Luke Plapp performing?
Up until the TT, very good. And then after that, it was all downhill.
Yeah, I have to agree. He has been ill as well. He has been suffering a little bit. Pogacar, by the way, as well. He had a cold after the Prato di Tivo stage. But yeah, Plop as a third week stage hunter looks very entertaining to me.
To be honest, he's been very strong. I think that stage that Pelayo Sanchez won.
The stage, yeah.
Yeah, I think Plapp was super strong there. He was out there with Alaphilippe as well. But yeah, Plapp definitely looked at that stage, both GC wise and stage wise. Ended up focusing a little bit on GC, I guess. And then the day after was the TT. And he did 7th place in that TT. So his form is clearly good, but too bad about the illness.
I want to say I don't think Plapp is not good enough for stage hunting in these end stages of the Giro, in my opinion. I think they're too hard for him. Genuinely too hard for him. I think there's better climbers who are going to go stage hunting as well. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I can agree, but still,
I don't think
in a good shape, and we have some Barodur stages, not real mountain stages. That I always think Plop and the Australian nationals, like the parkour there, it's short hills that are coming each lap. Of course, Australian nationals and a Grand Tour are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets that gap, yeah, is the light version of Mohoric, in my opinion. The light version.
I wouldn't compare it to Mohoric, but I think Plapp has power and also kind of the weight now to really do well in these stages. I do think that he lost quite a bit of weight. Looking at
look sharp.
Yeah. So honestly, if he didn't have that illness on Prato di Tivo, I would still expect to see him in top 10 of GC. And I really don't regret having him as a podium pick because honestly, he was very strong.
It was looking good, genuinely. I was like, this guy's brainwave something here, man. I was like, what the hell's going on here? But then he just got ill, didn't he? So yeah. And then did someone say he was up at 1 a.m. messaging? Which is funny.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan. I need 3 names. The riders you're most impressed with after 12 stages. That's only one name.
One name.
Yeah, most impressive rider.
I'm not going to be biased at Alaphilippe today. That's boring. I'm going to say Milan because I think he's dominant and he's going to win more.
Most underrated rider.
Pelayo Sanchez.
And biggest disappointment of the Giro so far.
Tadej. Although he was sick, so I have to give him a
damn. Ethan, please.
I've seen people saying top 3, so yeah, I'll say him. Personally, it's harsh, but yeah. Get your
Mate,
thoughts.
you have a Caleb Ewan, a Fabio Jacobsen, and you say Romain
Fabio
Bardet.
Let Fabio Jacobsen off because obviously he has a lot of bad luck. Caleb Ewan is there with Caleb Ewan there. Caleb Ewan, I don't know what's up with him. It's kind of insane.
I think
Bram.
Eve has an opinion on what's wrong with Caleb Ewan.
Bram, most impressive rider.
Jonathan Narvaez.
Same. Most underrated rider.
It's a test, isn't it?
Alex Baudin.
I thought you was going to say Julian Alaphilippe.
No, I underrate him.
Biggest disappointment.
Oof.
See, this is where I always mess up and pick the wrong name, and then someone else in the comments calls me out for it and say, "Oh, you're attacking young riders."
Mention it, and I'm gonna bet on him tomorrow.
Well, if we're talking about your bets, then Garoni. I mean, this is cruel. Why are you having me ask this? And I didn't even prepare it.
You gotta say someone.
Can I just say the team of Visma
Lease
Bike, the team of Visma Lease Bike, and I know that it's not entirely in their control, but regardless of that,
easy way out.
Actually, no, I'm gonna change it. The Italian Pro Conti teams, because they're not getting in the break.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll give you that one as well. That's good. Because you'd expect them to have done something by now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're too diplomatic, Bram.
No, I'm tired of getting called out in the comments. I'm losing my spice.
You can say it and then argue why. People will understand it then.
Well, I've done so. So it's your turn.
The most impressive rider is, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to say Narvaez as well, because he was very good at the start of the season. Then I think his wife got a child, and then had a concussion in Hand-Wevelgem, no competition anymore, and then came back to the Giro with a win. Second place to him in stage 12. Most underrated rider. For me, it was maybe Fortunato. I expected him not to climb this good. Surely within Astana colors. I don't really like Astana. I don't know how they follow up riders. And then biggest disappointment. Well, I already mentioned it. Caleb Ewan.
Why?
How is it possible for you to get disappointed by Caleb Ewan? Aren't your expectations already down the floor?
Stage 11 was a sprint. He was in perfect position. I think Mezgec was in front of him. Mezgec starts his lead out to the left because Caleb Ewan was stuck a little bit. He opens up Mezgec, and Ewan decides
to give up,
not to follow that wheel and to sit up. Yeah. You're paid to be a sprinter. Yeah, Bram. He's paid a lot. He's probably the highest earner or one of the highest earners at the Jayco team. Then you can't sit up in a bunch sprint in a Grand Tour.
Has he not even got a top 10 in the bunch sprint, if I recall?
He's got a 6th place.
Oh, 6th place.
Wow, impressive. All right. That are my names. That's all we have time for on this episode for the Domestique Cycling Podcast. Thank you for listening or watching. Don't forget to hit the like button or subscribe to our channel for all your latest cycling content. Bye and enjoy the Giro.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
I've got the spores, the sickness, there's between